Okay, perfect. Right then, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on the Working Wellbeings podcast. It has been a long time coming. We've been meaning to get you on this podcast for ages.
I know. Well, there you go. Unbelievable. What a pleasure.
Our pleasure, entirely. So, for those who don't know you, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are.
Okay, so I'm Ryan. I set up a company called Finwell Training about 3 years ago now. Specialises in financial education and wellbeing at the workplace. But we also try and link it to mental health and suicide prevention. Those are kind of our core 3 areas, I suppose. I'm a dad and I'm knackered because we're right at the end of this 2-day event, aren't we?
Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. I feel the same.
I'm going to be the worst guest because I'm the tiredest.
No.
Everyone at the start was really sprightly and I'm going to be like, oh.
No, but maybe this is when you get the real stuff comes out, the authenticity.
Well, let's see what comes out. Who
Maybe. I've never really asked you what got you into the area of financial well-being. And
if I go way back, I was in professional sport and managed to become a professional footballer, which was great, but not a very successful one. Sort of stopped at early 20s. And I think if I look back, that was my the first thing that had a big impact on me mentally, not making it as a professional. So if I look back, that probably started everything off. Then got into financial services and realised that kind of people within professional sport didn't automatically have great financial health just because they had money or access to money. Went down the advice route, so financial advising, and did my exams and loved parts of that, but not all of it. And then realised that there was this massive need for financial education, maybe for all the steps before advice, the stuff that we don't learn at school. And then the world went a bit crazy with COVID, if you remember that, way back when, and the pandemic. And then we came out of that, and then there was this cost of living crisis, and it just was a recipe, I think, for the perfect storm for organisations to spring up that offered education and guidance and training around money, all different aspects of money across life's financial journey. So Finwell was formed, and it's kind of just taken a organic route to now where we are, I suppose.
Yeah. So I'm definitely going to come back to the finance stuff, but I'm a massive football fan as well. So do you think there's more provision? I'm just nosy. Do you think there's more provision for footballers now who kind of fall out of the game early doors?
There is. There's some really encouraging stuff that's going on, actually. There's still a massive long way to go, and we're involved with a little bit, which is exciting. I can tell you about that. But what recently I've seen, Crystal Palace, actually, I don't know if you know this, put a support package together for their lads that are not getting kept on. I don't know, you might have seen there was some brilliant programs about their academy and how they try and get young people through and how they really do support them or try to. So that's extended now to, if the lads don't make it, well, what happens to them? And that's across all areas of well-being. So mental health, life skills, recruitment, jobs, careers, and also financial well-being. So we're actually trying to do the same with West Ham, who are a client of ours. That's who I played for, which is great. But to answer your question, there's still not enough, actually. It's huge, and I don't know, it's a little bit like, well, do they really need it? They've earned good money. Well, no, they haven't actually. Not a lot of them have. And in my personal experience, that's all I knew. That's all I was going to be, was a footballer. And when that didn't happen, I was just a bit lost for quite a while, actually. So it, as I say, impacted mental health. You don't know where to go, and it can be a real downward spiral for a lot of people, actually, and can lead on to all sorts of things.
It's a really difficult one, isn't it? Because in order to be a professional footballer, because of the competitiveness of it, everybody wants to be a professional footballer, right? You've got to commit yourself to it. I think it must be, there can't be many professional footballers out there who also juggled that with, a full-time education and whatnot.
A plan B.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
If you listen to any, public speaker, celebrity, motivational speaker, it's about not having a plan B, right? Because you've got to focus on performance. And if you even think about a plan B, you might not achieve plan A. I don't know. I think there's elements of truth to that. But the smart person achieves their plan A, but also backs it up with knowledge that they need to have throughout life, right? Whether it's money or relationships or whatever. And I try, with the stuff we do with football clubs and people in sport, is let them have heroes or people to look up to, role models that have had success, actually, in music or entertainment, acting, whatever sport, but have also been smart with it and maybe created businesses around it. There's too many examples of failure. I could give you loads of those. Footballers that have gone bankrupt, 1 in 3 going bankrupt. But what I'd like to do is shift it a little bit and focus on the positive and see some really good role models have actually, done well in their chosen sport or profession, but also been smart. And part of that is financial well-being as well.
Yeah. This is years ago, but and only slightly related. But I remember watching a program. Do you remember it where Glenn Hoddle went out to Spain and he was running a team? Do you remember this?
Yeah,
and
I
he
do,
was
actually.
taking on kids who'd been released from the academies.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking then, like, that transition's so difficult, and that what they seemed to be doing was great. Whether or not that went anywhere, I don't think he's involved with that anymore.
No. There's been some good stuff. Like I say, over the years, the support's increased, and the things that Crystal Palace are doing and what we're trying to do with West Ham and other clubs is great. But there does need to be more. But there needs to be more across the board in every industry, every sector.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, let's get back. Let's get back to why we're here, health and wellbeing. So it's well, when was Financial Wellbeing Month? What was Financial Wellbeing Month? Tell me more.
Yeah, it was a little idea. First of all, I always had, I don't know about you, Matt, but a bit of a love-hate relationship with awareness campaigns. I always kind of thought, well, it's a bit of a tick box, it's great for a day or a week or a month or a year, but what else happens? We've got to keep it going. And then actually I was having a discussion with Alice Hendy, the founder of Ripple Suicide Prevention, of whom I'm an ambassador for, really proud to do that. And we was talking about it, and we thought, we started to do some work together and link in financial well-being and suicide prevention. Unfortunately, her story is very relevant to that with her brother Josh. And we thought, let's do something that hasn't already been done, and could possibly we combine all areas and mental health. We then had a conversation with Simon Blake, who was the Chief Executive of Mental Health First Aid England at the time. And I said to him, I've got a bit of a love-hate relationship with campaigns. I should we really do this? Is it even a good idea? And he opened my eyes a little bit to think, well, it might just be the first step for a company or an organisation, but it might be the most important step. So any sort of awareness is great. So we did it. We said, okay, let's just do it. We didn't really have too much time because we wanted to plan to do it in April, start of the financial year. It's also my birthday, so for selfish reasons, I wanted to do it then. And we did it, and it was great. It was just really well received. So the 3 organisations came together to link financial wellbeing, mental health, and suicide prevention for employers, all employers, and we wanted to make it free to get involved.
And what did you do? What did it look?
So we had obviously with my company offering training and being a training company, we set out to offer a lot of free workshops, free resources, training, support. There was also loads of free guides and tools, research data from all 3 areas, and we put on a whole series of things happening in April last year. It was a lot of work, so my team didn't love me because it was, obviously all for free, which is great. He put us in the shop window and got a lot of awareness, which was brilliant, but it was a lot of work, and it was a great success. So we're stuck with it now. It was here every year. We've committed to it, and we just learned what went well last year and kind of the areas that we maybe could improve upon and add even more value. So here we are a year later at an in-person event. It was all online last year. So we've now added, an in-person event that we can promote and showcase it at, raise even more awareness, get more employers involved with it in the lead up to April, which will be all the events and other things that we've got going on in a few weeks' time.
I love it. And I've been over to the area. You've got a really impressive area of that. So we're at the Health and Wellbeing at Work conference 2025, and you've got the stand, and you've got an area with speakers as well, right?
Yeah, so we partnered with the event organisers, with Mark Allen Group, and they had a desire to really do more around financial wellbeing. It's obviously, a not so new, but still new for a lot of organisations, area of wellbeing. So we came together and created the Financial Wellbeing Hub and kind of zone of the show, and tried to get other organisations to exhibit, and also have a whole range of speakers from, employers, providers, whatever, sharing real life experience, practical guides, what's worked, what hasn't, what are the challenges. And it was really real. So you never know what's going to happen, right? Are people going to come and listen? We had quite a small area, to be honest. We didn't know how many people there'd be, but it was packed. We had people right back into our stand.
Yeah.
because there wasn't enough seats. So
yeah, I went over. I was over there. There was a panel session going on, and it was absolutely packed.
yeah, it's brilliant. It's really great to see. Really encouraging to see that there's a need for it. The speakers that we had were fantastic. So shout out to all of them. And hopefully it's something that we can build upon as well, because it's obviously our area of passion, but it does link to every aspect of our life, really.
Yeah, it's not niche. It's not niche. There's some niche providers here today, but financial wellbeing is not niche. Everybody.
Yeah, it's funny though. I remember a year ago, 2 years ago, it's like, we do sort of financial, but it's a bit of a niche area. We were saying, because it was all about mental health, right? But I think that's a key learning, that we've really got to get under the bonnet to the root causes of a lot of issues, of which money and the lack of it, or the lack of understanding of it, or how to earn it, save it, spend it, whatever, protect it is key to all of us.
Yeah. It's the lack of openness around it that gets me. We all know the stigma that's associated with. I've told this a million times on the pod before, but I read this study. I need to find where the study was actually from. You'll probably find out it doesn't exist. But apparently they asked people about their salaries on the street. They asked them about their salaries, and they asked them about their sex life. And they saw which they were more willing to answer. And apparently they'll tell you about their sex life before.
I think you made it up, Matt.
Yeah, I made that
up. No, I've definitely heard about that and seen that. And yeah, it's a massive taboo. We see now a bigger openness with clients and employers that we work with around suicide than we do about money. And that's got to change. And it doesn't mean, we have this a lot with clients when we have initial conversations with them, and a lot of them worry and think, well, are we going to open up a can of worms? Do you remember this was the same conversation though around mental health as well? Or are we touching on an area that we shouldn't really? Are we going to open a can of worms? It's exactly the same. And we've never had it. We've never had people just come on to workshops that we're doing, or whatever the support is that we're offering, and just talk about money or salary. Because I think as long as they're paid fairly, and that's a challenge for companies who are going through a tough time, they recognise if there's additional support that they're being offered around education or guidance or advice or support, whatever, they appreciate that. But we have to start by having these conversations. We've got to start talking about money, not about, well, how much debt are you in, or how much do you earn? It's just about, I think, first and foremost, appreciating that we're all in a similar boat, because not many of us learnt the basics at school. So that should hopefully remove some of the shame, because we feel like as adults we should know about this and should be able to manage our money and protect our family and provide. It's really hard for a man, right, as well. I think there's an additional stigma around that. But it's going to take time, and there's ways we've learned how to do that with leadership, getting involved. Most of the solutions are really similar to the ones around mental health. It's getting leadership buy-in and sharing stories and being vulnerable and open about it, and creating that psychologically safe space, and all those things are so the same with financial well-being as mental health.
It blows my mind that we don't, I know teach it in schools is always the answer, but it really should be taught in schools, because I've got a master's degree in psychology, but I still don't know how my mortgage works properly. Exactly. I've got a basic understanding of it, but I wouldn't call myself an expert by any stretch of the imagination. It's
life skills, isn't it?
And
encouragingly, for people that don't know, it is on its way. There's some really great organisations that are doing this. Go Henry, Young Enterprise, My Bank are doing some brilliant work with government. We've been involved with a little bit to try and help get it onto the syllabus. It's been on the syllabus for a little while, but there's just an uphill struggle for teachers, and the curriculum is overpacked anyway. But it is happening, so that will happen. That's great. So for my children, for our children, hopefully that will be a good thing if they get it in time. But that still leaves a whole generation that are now young adults or entering the workplace that didn't have that. So we've either learned our own lessons and made mistakes that could be quite costly ourselves, or employers have an opportunity to get involved and really help their people to reduce stress, anxiety, issues, pressures around this. And I say opportunity because we always get this as well. Well, is it an employer's responsibility to do this? No, I don't think it is. Actually, they've got responsibilities to pay fairly and to offer good benefits and a safe working condition, but not this. But it's an opportunity. If they want to invest in it, it will hopefully show that return on investment, and it will just make them a better employer, a more attractive employer for good talent, reduce absenteeism, all the metrics that we would measure. So it's not a responsibility, but I think it is an opportunity for companies.
And the fact that your job is inherently linked to your salary and your earnings and all the rest of it, that that's that's where part of the conversation should happen, surely.
Yeah, definitely. They're so. Still think we're at the start of this.
Yeah.
Genuinely do. There seems to be a lot of talk around it, which is great. We've been going for 3 years now, which seems like a lifetime, and it also seems like it's just gone in a couple of seconds. But I think we're still at the start of it. I think we're going to see more and more. I think it's going to become one of the trends we've talked about in one of the talks. Was it financial education becoming an employee benefit? A staple core employee benefit. How that looks for different companies, we'll see. So yeah, I think companies are taking it seriously. There's a lot of companies that realise they want to do something and should do something, but don't know what to do, and how to use any budget that they might have. Budgets aren't easy to come by these days. So yeah, I think we're just at the start of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it needs to happen. You put a poll out on LinkedIn. Well, you have put up a couple of polls out on LinkedIn.
I do a little bit on LinkedIn.
Yeah. And what was it? It said, how many months could you go without a salary before you'd struggle to pay your bills? And there were a couple of interesting things I thought when answering that, because I ticked one of the boxes. First off, and I feel weird saying this on camera now, like, I've got some savings. So when I read that, I was like, I'd be all right for a little bit. Like, not forever, but I'd be all right for a little bit. But even that feels uncomfortable, saying that, because you feel like you're bragging about it. Like, I'm not rich by any stretch of the imagination, but I've got some savings that could tide me over for a few months, But even ticking the box felt a little bit weird. So that's something in itself. But then when you saw the results come through, a lot of people had ticked the boxes saying, no, actually, they'd struggle quite quickly.
Yeah, and I know that, with all data or polls, it's limited to who's the audience and everything else, but it does give a bit of an insight, right? And I did that for a reason, because we also launched at this event our data, and it's in the guide. It's free for anyone to download and get involved if you sign up to the campaign or whatever. But we gathered all the data over the last 3 years and have now a benchmark for employees. It's over 1,000 employees from 10 different organisations, all different sizes globally, and it's quite interesting to see. You're doing better than a lot of people just having a few months. That's, I don't know the exact stats at this stage of the day, but most people have less than £500, set aside. A lot of people have less than £100. A lot of people just live in credit and in overdrafts, getting out loans just to pay for basic needs. So financial resilience is a massive focus for us. It's something we're working on, and that's actually one of the 5 core areas that we sort of ask employees to measure. Once we've explained what that actually means, you can't just say, well, how do you score yourself in your financial resilience? We explain it, and it's how long could you survive without having any income coming into the household. And if people think about it, it's not long at all. They're one paycheck away from being in quite a lot of trouble. And then we get asked, well, how much should we have then? What's the right amount? And there is no right amount. No. It's all about how much peace of mind you actually want. But there is a guide, and they say, those people, that if you was to work out how much your monthly outgoings are on a monthly basis, how many months could you last? But then to try and start to build that up. So forget about, all the luxuries or even the nice things to have, that the real bare minimum, try and build up to have 1 month, that 1 month's worth of that set aside. It's not just in your savings account, it's an emergency fund. You can't touch it. It's just going to help you sleep at night knowing you've got to that. And Gethin Nadin, just to give him a shout out for one of our talks, looked at the psychology of how your well-being can increase by achieving £1,000 in money set aside. It's huge, really huge. But don't stop there. Once you can get to that point, and it might take a while, try and build up to 2 months and then 3 months. And the kind of guide is anywhere between 3 and 6 months worth is a really, really healthy place to be. Now, that's not easy. I'm not saying, everyone just have between 3 and 6 months worth. But just by putting a plan in place, another key area of focus we're looking at is workplace savings, which we're going to see a lot of soon. And by helping employees get to that point, or even just start that plan, right? Just by having that first payment of £5 a month or £10 a month or whatever's affordable and has been worked out in a budgeting plan, will give you a massive increase in financial well-being and overall well-being, knowing that you're working towards it. As soon as you've got a plan in place, helps you to achieve it.
Yeah, I love that small steps piece, because I've had that just recently. Once every probably 12 months, me and my wife have this crisis of conscience where we're like, oh God, do we really know where all our money's going? And we should be budgeting, and we sit down and we work out where it's all going and all the rest of it. And I tell you where it comes to every single time. It comes to conversations like, do we cancel Spotify because it's costing £10 a month? But then you look at your mortgage that's going out and you're like, well, what's the point? Because the mortgage dwarfs that, you know?
What difference will it make? Yeah.
But it does make a difference.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everyone needs to cancel their Spotify, and
Love
I want to
Spotify,
keep
by the way.
I want to keep my Spotify.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is those little things that make a difference over time. And what I guess I'm trying to say there is you could feel helpless sometimes, you know, because you think, well, there's this mortgage payment going out, so there's no point trying anything else.
Yeah.
But actually, if you got on top of all those other things, it might help.
Yeah, I think it's also, once you start, it's just about getting into better habits as well. So like you could do one small thing, small step that could lead to something else. It does mount up. If you people, we've done exercises on the one-to-one guidance sessions that we offer where people say, look, there is just no money available. You know, I can't earn anymore, and I can't save anymore. And actually, when you look into it, there are ways. You know, there are ways to trim down. A lot of people don't know about negotiating for their insurances or I don't know, Sky. You'd be surprised what they'll let you have it for if you
tell them you're going to cancel.
If you're willing to, and you're not bluffing them, you are willing to actually go. So there are ways, and there's ways to subconsciously save. There's lots of great technology now where you can save without really knowing it, or just do a little bit. There's a thing I think with Monzo where you can put a certain amount in 1p a day and it builds up. At the end of the year, well, it's not going to be millions, but it's getting into better habits. That leads on to the next best thing. Looking at, I don't know, shopping discounts or employee benefit saving schemes, all these sorts of things. So it's that little thing, doing that. It's like anything, any area of wellness. We was talking about going to the gym. Once you actually just do that first session, you feel much better about it. You go to the next time, and you're either in an upward spiral with healthier habits or a downward spiral. I'm terrible. If I miss the gym, I'll then probably eat bad. I'll then probably have a glass of wine or two or beer or whatever, and then miss the next. You know, it's just either one way or the other, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And we need to get conversations about this, because in lieu of conversations, there's a gap, and then we fill the gaps with things that we're making up in our own mind. So I definitely feel that I feel like technology doesn't help with this. If you go on YouTube for 5 seconds, you get how you're meant to be getting up at 5 a.m. and earning this amount of money and driving a Ferrari and a Lamborghini. And I guarantee, I do all those things, obviously, but I guarantee like 99% of that is just fake. Like it's just fake. Like that Lamborghini will be on leash, or
is it going to make you happy?
Anyway? It won't make you happy. Yeah.
You know, it's just like, I've got a love-hate relationship with technology and social media as well. You know, we obviously need it for the work that we do, and we have to put things out there and market ourselves and our companies and all that sort of stuff. But I love to try and get away from all of that. Yeah. And that as an important point about our relationships with money, that goes back. Half of probably what we do is education and how things work and how to save and budget and how mortgages work, as you say, and pensions, all this sort of stuff. The other half, if not more than half, is about the psychology of money, which will be right up your street. And it's really important, you know, the fact that we have a relationship with money that's ingrained in us by the age of 7. We've got to look at that, because just having more money is not going to solve a lot of people's issues. They've got to look at why they spend it on certain things, why they've got the habits, attitudes, behaviours that they have. And that needs to change. Otherwise, nothing will change.
Absolutely. Super interesting and really important work that you're doing. So, most importantly, how do people get involved with Financial Wellbeing Month? So when is it? Next month?
Mid-April, It's going to be April every year. There's a website that we set up with Mental Health First Aid England, with Ripple and Finwell, financialwellbeingmonth.com. Nice and simple. You can go on. It's completely free. Any employer of any size can register to support the campaign. They'll be listed on the supporters page. I think we've had lots today sign up, so probably more, but around 300 organisations that are involved. Throughout April, there'll be various free training, free workshops for their employees, tools, guides, all sorts of things. And it just gets people talking though as well, right? It gets the conversation going, and hopefully something we can build on every year. Yeah.
Love it. And where can people find you outside of today?
They can find me on LinkedIn. I think, you know,
if you want them to find you.
If you want to find me, and if I want to be found, I'll be on LinkedIn. Happy to connect with anyone and have conversations, you know, have calls, look at ideas. But yeah, mainly LinkedIn or Finwell. We've got a new website, actually. I suppose I should be giving that a plug.
Yeah.
Alex, our marketing expert, will kill me. So it's just, new one is finwell.training. Nice and simple. So we've got a bit of a new look and new brand and freshened things up.
Yeah. Nice one. Well, long overdue. Coming on the podcast. Great to speak to you. Hopefully the first of several. We'll do it again.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So,
This is a micro podcast. We'll do a longer
Yeah.
episode. Really get
about
to
a 5-hour one.
Yeah.
Really bore people.
yeah, like a Joe Rogan style, like
Yeah.
5 hours.
I'll be Trump.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
Let's not go down that road.
All right then.
Yeah.
Cool.
Top man. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Cheers, Matt.
Cheers.